Hi, it's Chrissy here. I've had a couple of requests for a video tutorial on how to use and customise the lower thirds I included in my bonus package for local video profits. So I've got the template open in PowerPoint, and the first thing I like to do is to open both the selection pane and the animation pane so that I can see the whole picture. So from the Home tab on the ribbon, click on Select and choose Selection Pane. Now click on Animations on the ribbon, then Animation Pane, so the animation pane opens. So now we can see all the separate elements in each slide, and we can see all of the animations that have been applied to each element. Clicking on the little star below the slide number in the slide pane on the left will let you preview how it plays out, and clicking on it again will stop it.
Looking for a reliable dentist for your dental checkup? Have questions that you want answered, and thus are particular.
If for some reason you're not seeing what I'm showing on the screen here, just go to View in the top ribbon and make sure Normal is selected. So currently the dentist video is being used with this template, but let's say you want to use a different video with this particular lower third. Click on the video in the big preview pane to select it, or click on it in the selection pane and then hit the delete key to remove it from the slide. Now click on Insert in the top ribbon, choose Video, Video on my PC, and browse to where the new video is. Click on it to select it and choose Insert. You can see in the selection pane the new video is now at the very top of all the elements on the slide because it's the last thing that was added. To move it to the bottom, use the down arrow in the selection pane, or you can right-click on the video in the big preview pane and choose Send to Back. Now let's look at the animation pane. I'm using Office 365 and it automatically attaches a trigger to the video. But because we're going to set the video to play automatically anyway, we don't need that. So with just the trigger highlighted, you can right-click and choose Remove. Now we want to make sure the video is the first animation to start, so we can use the up arrow in the animation pane to move it to the top. The mouse symbol indicates the video is currently set to play on click, so click on Animations and choose Start with Previous. Now with the video selected, either from the big preview pane or from the selection pane, click on Playback at the top right of the ribbon and just make sure Start Automatically is showing in the drop-down box. Now you can click on the little star below the slide number in the slide pane on the left again to preview how it will play out with the new video.
Struggling with tough stains on your carpet? You need a reliable carpet.
If you're happy with it, you don't need to touch anything else in the animation pane. Now let's look at customizing the lower third. If you want to change the default font that's been used, select the text in the selection pane and then from Home tab on the top ribbon, click on the drop-down arrow and hover your cursor over any of the fonts in the list to see a preview of what the font would look like. When you find one you like, left-click on it to select it. And the same applies to the font size and also to the font colour. To edit the text itself, select it in the selection pane, then hover your cursor to the left of the text you want to change and left-click and drag to highlight the text that you want to change. With the text highlighted, you can start typing in your changes. And we do it this way to preserve the animations that have been applied to the text, because if you were to simply hit the delete key on the text, you would also be deleting the animations and you'd have to reprogram them for your new text. Once you've made your changes, you might have to tweak the positioning a little just to make sure it looks the way you're happy with. Now let's say you want a different shade of blue for the lower third. You make your selection in the selection pane, then from the Home tab of the ribbon, click on Shape Fill, and hover the cursor over the colours until you find one you like, and then you can left-click on it to apply the change. The same principle applies to the components of the pentagon, which is a group, as you can see from the selection pane. If you want a more advanced view of each shape, click on the tiny Format Shape arrow to open the Format Shape pane. and click on the X to close it again. Now let's look at changing the image of the tooth that's inside the pentagon. Select it from the selection pane, then right-click on the tooth from the preview pane, and you'll see the option to change graphic. It says graphic because this icon is a vector icon chosen from the built-in icons in PowerPoint 2016. If it was a raster image like a PNG, it would say change image. So in this case, you can choose from a file, which is something on your computer, or from icons, so you can choose a different icon from within PowerPoint. Now, depending on which version of PowerPoint you're using, you may not have the option for built-in icons. Once you're happy with the look of your lower third, you'll want to save your template and render your video. I would suggest you save the template with a different name so you always preserve the original template to use again and again. To render the video, click on File, Export, Create Video. You can choose what size you want the video rendered at. I usually choose medium 1280 by 720. You also get the option to use recorded timings and narrations. The timings are already built into the slide, so you should be fine to leave it to set on that option. Then click Create Video. Once your video is rendered, play it back and make sure you're happy with everything. If not, come back to the template and make whatever adjustments you need to, and then render it again.